Hello everyone. Today we're going to do packet tracer of CCNA1 version 7, 10.3.4 packet tracer build a switch and a router network. And before we start, I want to thank you all who watched my video and subscribed my channel and financially supported my channel. Thank you very much. I really appreciate from the bottom of my heart for all your support of different ways. Thank you. Let's start today's packet tracer. Objectives: configure PCs, configure a router, verify end-to-end connectivity, configure a switch, secure remote access to the router. Background scenario: your aunt owns a small insurance agency. She recently purchased a Cisco router and switch. She has 2 wired PCs that need to be connected to the network. She is proud of your progress in your networking course and asks you if you would like to demonstrate your skills. Your job is to connect the devices, implement a basic configuration, and verify connectivity. After network connectivity has been verified, you will use iOS commands to retrieve information from the devices to answer questions about your network equipment. You will also configure the router for secure remote access. Next. So here first, you will connect the devices using copper straight-through cable. Here, the copper straight-through cable is this black straight line. Click and connect the R1 G001 interface to any port on S1. Let's go to R1 G001 S1 any port. Okay, I select G01. Second is PCA to any port on S1. Copper straight through PCA. I select Fast Ethernet 0. RS-232 is for console ports, so I select Fast Ethernet. S1, I select Fast Ethernet 01. Okay. Third one, PCB to R1 G000. Copper straight through PCB, Fast Ethernet 0, R1, G000. Okay, so now we finished successful. We finished this physical connection of the devices. Next, in this step, you will assign static IPv4 addressing information to the PC interfaces. Use the information in the addressing table to complete the task. So configure the IPv4 address, subnet mask, default gateway setting on PCA and PCB. Okay, let's go to addressing table and the PCA IP configuration. Okay, this is configuration window. We use a static configuration. Static configuration is a manual configuration. IPv4 address, we use the information in this addressing table. PCA is 192.168.1.3. Okay, we copy this information to here. It's 192.168.1.3. And the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. Default gateway is here, 1.1. So 192.168.1.1. Usually we use the first host IP address as the default gateway IP address. Okay, we finish PCA. Go to PCB. IP configuration, static configuration. IPv4 address PCB is 0.3. So copy this information to here, 192.168.0.3. Subnet mask is the same. Default gateway is 0.1, the first host IP address in this network. Is 192.168 the 0, the 1. Okay, so we finished these two computers' IP address information. Go back to instruction. Yeah, successful. And next, the test connectivity between PCA, PCB, ping PCA and PC between PCA, PCB. Okay, let's go to PCA. Command prompt. Ping PCB. Ping PCB is IP address is 192.168.0.3. That is PCB's IP address. Enter. But here is timed out. Sent for, received 0, lost 0. So the ping failed. Okay. So next. The question, why were the pings not successful? That's because PCA and PCB are into different network. So the ping traffic between PCA and PCB has to go through this router, go through the interface on the router, because the interface on the router are the default gateway IP, a default gateway interface for each network. But so far, we still don't configure the interfaces on the router yet. So the ping traffic between PCA and PCB is not being routed. That's why the ping not successful. So the default gateway interfaces on R1 are not configured yet. Yeah. Submit. Yeah. Yeah, here there's answer. You can look at this answer as reference to. Yeah, it's very, very good explanation. You can take a look. Next. In this step, you will use CLI tab for R1 to configure basic settings. You can connect a console cable and access CLI from PCA or PCB if you wish. However, in this activity, you can also just click R1 to open it. I just click R1 to open it. It's simple. Yeah. And return, enter. Here's a user executive mode enable to enter privileged executive mode and configure terminal to enter the global configuration mode. From here, we can do the configuration. First, assign the host name according to the address in table host name. Host name is R1, all right? Okay, host name, we use command host name, followed by the host name we gave to the router, which is capital R1. So you see the host name changed from the router to R1. The second is assign class as the privileged executive encrypted password. Encrypted password, okay. We use command enable secret, okay, followed by the password, which is a class. Good. So next is assign Cisco as the console password and enable login. Console password is console line password. So we need to enter the line configuration mode. We use command line console 0, enter. Okay, so we enter the line configuration mode. 0 here is the first console line. It is also the only console line because on this router, there's only one console port. So from here, we configure password for console line. Use command password, followed by the password, which is Cisco. Okay, then log in. Okay, don't forget login. Login is to activate or enable the password we just configured. If we only configure passwords without login, this password doesn't work. So we have to use login to activate this password. So next is encrypt the plain text passwords. So we need to go back to the global configuration mode. So exit. From here, we configure encrypt the plain text passwords. We use command service password encryption. All right. Create banner that warns anyone accessing the device that unauthorized access is prohibited. Okay, banner, MOTD. Don't forget MOTD. That is message of the day. I use quotation mark to enclose the information, which is unauthorized access is prohibited. Yeah. Okay. Next is configure IP address for the interface G00 and G01 IP address according to the addressing table. Activate the interface. Okay, addressing table. Two interfaces, G000 and G001. Addressing table. Router. Okay, so because we configure IP address on the interface, so we need to enter the interface configuration mode. Here, command interface. First is G000. Okay, so we enter the interface configuration mode. From here, we configure IP address. IP address. Here G00, 0 is 01. So 192.168.0.1, followed by the subnet mask, which is 255.255.255.0. And we need to activate this interface. So use command no shutdown. All right. So you see the interface is up. Protocol is up now. Good. Yeah, here because all the interfaces on the router and the switch are in shutdown mode by default. So after we configure the IP address, we need to activate this interface. Next is for interface G001. I use up arrow. G001 IP address. Okay, IP address is G001 is 1.1. Okay, I change from here 1.1. Okay, subnet mask is the same. All right, no shutdown. All right, so interface up, protocol up. Okay, good. And I think we finished this instruction. Go back. Yeah, we finished IP address configuration. So next is save running configuration to the startup configuration file. Okay, we need to go back to the privileged executive mode. So I use end. Okay, now copy is safe. Copy running config to start up config. The destination file name is startup config. Yes. All right. So we finished this part, and next. Okay, now let's test the connectivity between PCA and the PCB. PCA, let's go to PCA, command prompt. Here, the first time the pin was failed. Now, pin again, I use up arrow. So this time is sent 4, received 3, lost 1 is successful. Yeah, so but here first time is timed out. That's because of the ARP process. ARP is ARP, Address Resolution Protocol, ARP process to find the destination MAC address. So that takes time. But doesn't matter, it's pin again. So the 4 times sent, 4 times received, lost 0. Okay, very good. And next. Why were the pin between PCA and PCB successful? That's because the default gateway interfaces on R1 are configured. All right, submit. Yes, great. All right, here there's explanation as well. You can read. In this activity, the packet tracer activity, there are hints. Almost all the questions, you can find all the answer from the hint. Okay, next. Okay, in this step, you will use CLI tab for S1, so we need to configure S1. Basic setting, and you can just click S1. Yeah, I just click S1. And here, enable and configure terminal. Okay, from here we can do the configuration. First, assign host name according to the addressing table, that is S1. Okay, here, S1, host name. We use command host name, capital S1. Okay, the host name changed from switch to S1. Next, assign class as the privileged executive encrypted password. We use command enable secret, followed by the password, which is class. Next is Cisco as the console password, enable login. So we need to enter the line configuration mode, line console 0, and the password followed by the password, which is Cisco. And login. Don't forget login to activate the password. All right, successful. Next is encrypt plaintext password. We need to go back to the global configuration mode, exit, and service password encryption. Yeah, so this command, service password encryption, is to encrypt the plaintext password. Next is create banner. Okay, banner, MOTD, quotation mark, enclose the information on authorized access is prohibited. Okay. Next is for VLAN 1, configure IP addressing according to the addressing table and activate the interface. We need to configure IP address on this VLAN 1 interface. Okay, let's go to addressing table. Okay, switch VLAN 1 interface IP address configuration we need to do. Look at here, the switch. This switch is a layer 2 switch. Layer 2 switch, we use MAC address to transmit information or transmit the data. And we don't need the IP address. And also the physical ports on the switch don't support IP address because IP address is a layer 3 IP address. So when you see IP address on the switch, this IP address only can be configured on the virtual interface, switch the virtual interface. You cannot configure on the physical ports because physical ports doesn't support IP address. So this VLAN 1 is the default switched virtual interface. So and this IP address is only for the management purpose. It's not for the transmitting the data, only for the management purpose. Remember that. Okay, so we need to enter the interface configuration mode. So here's the interface. This interface is a virtual interface. It's a VLAN 1. Okay, then configure IP address on it. IP address is 1.2. Okay, so 192.168.1.2, followed by the subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and no shutdown to activate this VLAN 1 interface. Yeah, because the interface is in shutdown mode by default. All right. So here's interface up, protocol up. Let's go in instruction. Okay, we finished this part. The next is configure default gateway according to addressing table. Default gateway addressing table S1 is 1.1. Okay. So here's IP. Oh no, we need to go back to the global configuration mode. Exit. Okay, so IP default gateway. Default gateway is this one, 1.1. So 192.168, 1.1. Okay. Okay, good. Save the running configuration to the startup configuration. All right, so we go back to the privileged mode. Exit. Okay, so from here, copy is safe, running config to start up config. Destination file name is startup config. Yes. Okay, we finished this part. Next is a secure remote access to R1 remote. On R1, configure the domain name as academy.net. Let's go to R1. All right, so password here, the password is the console line password. Yeah, which is Cisco, right? Yes, enable. The privileged password is class. Okay, good. And configuration, we need to go to configuration terminal and configure domain name. Okay, so domain name is IP domain name, followed by the domain name is academy.net. Academy.net. Good. And create RSA keys with 1024 key length. Here 1024 is bits. Okay. Let's go to, we use command. Crypto key generate RSA. Enter. Here is how many bits in the modulus. How many bits? That is the key length is 1024 bits. Enter. Okay, here. Here, the RSA, here, look at here, RSA, the crypto key generator RSA. RSA is a type of encryption algorithm. RSA stands for Rivest Shamer Admin. Rivest Shamer Admin. These are three names of the three creators of this algorithm. Key generate is because RSA, this algorithm, you use this algorithm to create a pair of keys, which include a public key and a corresponding private key. The public key is for encryption. It is available for anyone. The private key is for decryption. It is kept a secret by the owner. So here the crypto is encryption. The crypto is created by using RSA algorithm to create a pair of keys, which include a public key and a private key. Okay, next, create a user with SSH user as the username and Cisco as the secret password. Secret password is encrypted password. All right, okay, we use command username, capital SSH, user, okay, followed by secret, followed by the secret password or the encrypted password, which is Cisco. Okay. And the next is configure V29s to use the local username database. For login credentials, the V29s should only allow SSH for remote access. And here we use command. First we need to go to V29, the line configuration, line VTY, followed by the range of value, which is 0, 4. And login local. Okay, local here is a local, use a local username database. And next, V29 should only allow SSH for remote access. So only SSH, so transport, input, SSH. Okay, that is the configuration. Successful. Next. Okay, now let's verify SSH remote access. From PCA or PCB, use command prompt to establish a secure session with R1 as prompt SSH command. Okay. PCA, let's go from PCA to R1. Command prompt. Okay, here. So we use command SSH space dash L. Here the L, not one. L means the local username, and followed by the username, which is space, followed by the username, which is capital SSH, user, space, and followed by the default gateway IP address, which is 192.168.1.1. Yeah, here the password is the line password, which is Cisco. It's not Cisco? Yes, it is Cisco. Okay, so successful. Yeah, enable. Here the password is privileged access. Password is class. Yes, good. We're successful. And the next, the question, if the G001 interface status is administratively done, what interface configuration command would you use to activate the interface? So usually when you see the administratively done, that means this interface is not active. So you need to activate the interface. We use command no shutdown. Yeah. So we don't forget about this because all the interfaces on the router and the switch are in shutdown mode by default. What would happen if you had incorrectly configured interface G001? G001 is this one, this default gateway interface on the router with the IP address 1.2. 1.2 should be the IP address configured on IS1 VLAN 1 interface. Look at here. Yes. So 1.2 is VLAN 1. So here, but if you accidentally configure this address on this interface, what will happen? Is ping will fail. That's it. That's because on PCA, you configured the default gateway IP address is 1.1. 1.1 is this interface, but you accidentally configure this interface with 1.2. So mistake is here. So that's why the ping will fail. Yeah, submit. Yeah, yeah, here there's explanation, the hint. All the questions have hint and all the questions have answer. So you can look at this as a reference. Next. Okay, so we 100% complete this pack tracer. This means we perfectly finished this pack tracer. Thank you for watching my video. If you like my video, please thumbs up and leave comments, share with your friends. And thank you for your support. Thank you very much and see you next time.